Good morning, everyone. Oh, yay. It's the news. Who's excited about the news? I know that you guys are all excited about the news. And I can see here that the Facebook link is totally dead. So that probably sucks. So thank you guys all for watching on on YouTube.
Yeah.
Apparently Facebook and StreamYard are doing a thing and trying to figure it out. So
some form of a maintenance.
Yeah, it sucks. Anyways, hey, before we get to the news, which we have, of course, as always, weather.
What's the weather today, dude?
Well, you just told me it was 70.
Oh, damn it.
I mean, my ears work. I have to say that this week's weather has been absolutely the best weather to have before summer comes in full swing. These have been the most amazing mornings. We had Joey from Rockford in this week. Stopped by Tuesday. A couple of the Rockford guys stopped by, and he's from Miami, even though he lives now out in Arizona, which we'll be at next week. He's like, dude, the weather here has been absolutely gorgeous, and this is that last nice week we get before
everything goes crazy,
before everything just turns into a sauna and boiling hot. Which, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy the summer. I mean, I like it when it's hot. I mean, it's just part of it.
People got used to it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like this weather, man.
I like this weather. I mean, I feel this is like
70s is probably the best.
Yeah, I feel like this is the California weather. Or that northern summer weather without the humidity, wherever that might be. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's what we got going on. And so naturally, some of you guys have very similar, but yet way colder. Springfield, Massachusetts, 42 to 61.
See, that's cold.
Wow, 59 to 68, Tennessee. It is cold. And it's funny how, like, what I think is funny is, like, 43 and sunny.
Super cold.
So it's going to start out at 50 and go up to 66. Like when
still cold.
But it's beautiful.
Ron, thank you so much.
For those of you who don't know what he's talking about, this week we did something new, which is crazy. We had 911 come in. Fernando was out Monday with a sick kid.
I know, it was my fault.
It was his fault.
So you're welcome.
We were scheduled to film it because you guys, I know how y'all feel about 911s, and we couldn't because it's just really hard to do as a single. And so we did a new thing where we just went live. So it turned out to be 9 episodes, even though I thought it was 10. Sorry. Short.
Really?
Yeah. I went back and looked at it last night. It happens. And so we filmed little between 5 to 10-minute clips of what was going on in the install bay throughout the process. This weekend, I'll put them all together in a playlist for those of you guys that just want to scram through a playlist. But no, it was a lot of fun doing, and we've got a lot of positive feedback, no negative feedback, which is good. So maybe it's something we do again when we're in a pinch and we want to get that content out. Just add something to it. I mean, it kind of took the place of the Instagram show, which kind of sucked, but it was just a really fun, even though it's Friday, I don't know, man, days are just long. You bet, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Even though I'm MTX fan, I think they're hurting themselves by not having 2.5 inch or 4.5 inch. It's funny you should say that because I just had to write a report on that for one of the manufacturers that we deal with. Because they're kind of in the same position. 42, Northern Indiana. As I was saying before, it's funny that, like, could you imagine if it started out that cold and got that hot? So like when it's 95 out in the morning, it's 80. It's 85.
Yeah.
And it goes up to 90, whatever, 100 or whatever it is. But in probably somewhere at like 3 or 4 in the morning, it might be like maybe touch 70. Maybe, but probably not.
Yeah.
Because we just don't have these huge temperature swings like the rest of the world. Love the 911s and bad for the owner, but imagine getting these two fixing. Let me tell you what. It's funny because when I handed it over to the owners, it was him and his wife. And his wife was following along, and she was reading some of the comments. And he's in IT, and he had to tell his wife, like, listen, don't pay attention to the comments. Because, there again, a lot of people don't, either they don't believe it or they have their own opinions of reality, which aren't real. And they say things that are mean.
Oh, no way.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. But they really, they themselves really enjoyed watching it in a very sad, disconnected way.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh wow, this is happening, and then in the back of their mind, like, oh crap, this is our car, and this is what we paid for. So that's the thing I think is always lost on these 911 videos. Is it would be nice to capture that somehow, but I don't. It's embarrassing sometimes.
Yeah,
for the individual.
You don't want to be there and
no, you don't want to like. You don't want to be part of a joke.
You telling me, hey, this is what you did wrong.
Or this is what happened that was wrong, and this is what you didn't know. And
well, I mean, at the end of the day, I did it wrong.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So, and people are in there again. It's a very cruel
environment.
Metaverse out there that will either praise them or bash them, and very rarely will be an in between. So that's why we always exclude them from the video, because why didn't you go there in the first place, or some other half-cocked thing that doesn't make any sense. But there again, we film this for your enjoyment and your education. So we're glad that you liked it. Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey, Bobby.
Rain all weekend. I love and hate weekends like that. If I got nothing to do, I'm perfectly cool with a nice rainy weekend. Sit at home, watch some Netflix, snuggling with a pillow.
Weekends off?
Well, Sunday. Sunday. All right, slow it down. I like to listen. Let me.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I didn't know.
Yeah, 44 and surprise rain in the Pacific Northwest. Right, Vermont checking in at 33, 43 in sunny PA. So Brian is headed up to Pennsylvania for a 7-hour tune. So he's flying out. He's not even staying in a hotel. He's flying out there, first class, mind you, because he booked the first class ticket. So California to PA, tune the car, go to the airport, fly back home. Never like no change, no shower, no nothing. Just fly out, tune, fly home. That's the whole thing today. That's crazy. Orlando checking in at 71, expected 85. Yep. Good day. Good day.
Okay.
How are you? Morning from Lake City, hot and sunny. Currently 47, Bobby says.
Wow.
It's amazing how cold it gets there. Good morning, all. What's up, Justin?
What's up?
Checking in from Lake City. 60 and cloudy. NFL draft in Detroit. Yeah, I heard about that. They're really excited. Of course, they interviewed the one guy that is played in Michigan and is going to the draft in Michigan and really wants to get drafted by the Lions, because he's like, that would be good, because apparently he doesn't want to leave home.
And he don't get it.
Yeah, he probably won't get drafted by the Lions. 59 and 0% humidity in Georgia. Give it time. Give it time. Humidity has been lacking everywhere. I know. That's because the world is changing. Used to live in Clearwater and already had that one time. I love the humidity, though. That's the problem. I love the 911s as well. Yeah, they're perfectly sized cliffhangers. Yep. Thank you. The live was epic. I'm glad you guys liked it. I have to look for it. There is no 8. There is no 8. 8 was a mistake. It went from 7 to 9. My bad. I went back and changed 9 to 8 last night, and 10 didn't get numbered. So it was 9 episodes. So for those of you guys that are like, what happened to 8? Because that was brought to my attention actually by the customer whose car was. He goes, you missed 8. And I go, yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So let's zoom down here. Good morning, Northern Maine, 32. Oh, my God. God love you for living in Maine. That's all I have to say. I mean, it's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
But y'all's weather, I don't know how you do that. And no 13 floors. Actually, that's not a thing really much anymore, because most of the hotels, I think we stayed on a 13th floor at one of the hotels. That's that. I feel like I remember that, but
yeah.
I can accept no 8. There you go. 7, 8. Yeah, 7, 8, 9. 7, 8, 9. That's what happened. But we got some news for you. Not a lot, but enough to make you excited about it, right?
Yeah.
And as always, we would like to thank the fine folks at CE Outlook for doing their thing, which is go scout, make news, find news, tell stories that we can then steal from them and reinterpret it in the way we would like to. So if you'd like to read about, let's say, more news that we decided weren't anything that you might want to hear, or you'd like to read the stories themselves to see where we got our cockamamie ideas from, then please head over to CE Outlook. Ooh, Facebook is working now. Fantastic. Head over to CE Outlook, where you can find that. There are links in the description as always. On to the stories. Let's pull that up there. Boss Elite steps up features. So earlier this year, Jason Delgado took over at Boss.
Yes.
And he called us, and then he stopped by, and we had the opportunity to kind of get the pitch of where Boss is going to be headed and what they're going to be doing and the future of the company, which is kind of funny because
Jason.
Is it Jason Delgado?
Matt.
Matt Delgado. Sorry, Matt Delgado. My bad. Sorry, Matt.
Hey,
I knew there was a Delgado in there somewhere. So Matt Delgado.
Yeah, I was like, hang on.
Okay, so Matt, and then put all the words that we said. Okay, yeah. So one of the things that I thought was interesting about the conversation we had with them was, here is Boss trying to go the other way. Okay, yeah. They're trying to move in that direction, which is better products. More things that we want to see in a radio. Like, they're like, we're positioned to do this. Like, we have money, we have technology, we are the manufacturer, so like we can do all these things.
Right.
And you look at all the big guys at the top are going the direction the other way. They're like, oh no, we need to go down here into the cheap stuff because that's where people are at, and which they're not. So this is an interesting switch. I mean, if what their vision is, in 3 to 5 years, depending on how long this crazy train lasts, you could see, like, could you imagine like the conversation being like, top, well, you guys need to pick up the new Boss 9000 series radio because it's got 8 channels of preamp output, and it's a floating 10-inch screen, or it has custom brackets that are designed to pull the Kia radio out, and this will pop back into place. And yeah, I mean, that would just be interesting that they could do these things.
And I'm pretty sure they can do it.
Oh, they can. And that's the thing. They have the budget. They have the resources to do it.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of changing that they got a great kickstart in with COVID, because a lot of people bought these products and they found out, like, hey, these are actually not the worst things in the world. Yeah,
would buy it.
Yeah, and so basically the big step up here is they're adding like Sirius XM to it. Wireless, is it wireless CarPlay? Yep. Wireless CarPlay is getting thrown in. So they're starting to integrate features into it that we want to see, which is cool. We'll start to see these things. Next thing you know, it'll be iData compatibility and all this fun stuff that they need in order to move their project forward.
Yeah.
But they're, again, baby steps. It takes a lot of time to integrate all these things in, but it's nice to see that they are moving in that direction. Keep in mind, anything that a manufacturer says today, you're not going to see for 2 years.
Right.
So even if they have put together the strategy to be like, we're going to change our image, it's going to take 2 years for that to happen, because that's the typical product development cycle for 12 volt. If you can get it done in 18 months, you're a superhero, but you're not getting it done in a year. It just doesn't happen. So a lot of this stuff was probably already in the pipeline before he got there. But yeah, it'll eventually, we'll see how these things go. And speaking of pipeline and radios, Sony announces new receiver for, what does it say here? For June. So this is kind of funny. So when I don't know, everything is funny.
Yeah.
It's funny me, funny you, is funny, haha. So when Orlando existed, Orlando was always the platform in which they introduced new products. So Knowledge Fest is what we're talking about. Orlando still exists. It's still there. It's still on the map. You can find it. Disney and all that, Universal. But what would happen is that Knowledge Fest Orlando, they would always introduce some new products. That was their springboard to do that. So 1 year we got Mobile ES, and then we got like a couple radios, and And it was like some years it was like, yay, and other years it was like, really? Why do we care? And this is a backup. This is like we added another one or something to the product. So this is going to be the evolution of the next radio. They were late to the game when it came to iData. Like they were like the last players on the table in the big four that adopted iData. So their product lineup is not really thick in the iData world, which is important because moving forward, if you're not iData compatible, it's going to be rough.
Yeah.
So this new radio is an update. So it has one of the big selling points is it's an affordable iData compatible radio with CarPlay. The weird part is it doesn't say anything about Android Auto. I don't know if that was just missed or it doesn't have Android Auto. So, and none of the documentation says anything about Android Auto, which if it doesn't, that's a big flag. Like, how would you not do that?
No, I think it does. It's like
it just didn't make it into the it's just weird though, because it didn't make it into the lineup. And one of the comments on it was like, so does it have Android Auto? Because it literally just goes Apple CarPlay and then 6.9-inch anti-glare touchscreen.
Right.
Quick wake up is a new feature. Sony's quick wake up feature. You're ready to go right after turning on the ignition.
Yes.
That's because it's a real basic looking unit that doesn't have a lot of graphics to boot in. So that's pretty cool. USB-C, which is a lot of the Sonys are going to USB-C, which is nice. Most of the higher end radios now are USB-C. So that's always fun. We were making a lot of USB-C mounting plates because the manufacturers haven't picked up. And for those of you that are like, oh, does it have FLAC? Yes, and also LDAC. So it's a notable upgrade. The model number is the XAV-AX 3700. So it's whatever the current lineup is in the 3 Series radio. What are we looking at? Oh, just
I mean, it's just it maybe doesn't have.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about Android Auto.
I'm
shocked. If it doesn't have it, I get it, but it's kind of weird.
No, I don't.
Oh no, I don't get it either. Well, because listen,
you kind of limit your customers,
as we know, because our tool, the IRTA2, because of app support, we haven't been able to sell to the Android customer. Yeah. However, that is going to change here shortly. We have some apps that are looking really potential in the Android market.
Yeah.
And so Christian and Marty Adams are testing some of these Android apps for it and having a lot of success with the IRTA2. So the next thing is for us to do the validation. So I have to go out and buy like a Samsung tablet.
Yeah.
And we'll do some testing to make sure that everything is copacetic, and then we'll be able to do Android support, which will make so many people happy. Me too, me specifically, because there we go, Moving on to interesting topics. So here we are talking about radios and stuff like that. 12-volt product forecast to grow in 2024. Apparently, the economy, even though they say is shit, is doing pretty well in our genre, our space. Now, some of this is coming from updating cars to new features that they currently don't have, such as backup cameras, backup sensors, mirror, all these add-on security things that people supposedly want. I think the only people that want those are car dealerships. Like, very rarely do we get actual consumers walking in and asking for something outside of a backup camera.
Yeah.
Most of the traffic we see are not asking for these things. They've bought the cars with them, and or they just don't care. So I think these are a lot of those add-ons are for car dealerships that are trying to add value to some of the used cars that they're getting, or some of the new cars that aren't coming with those features. Right. Recently, I was talking with a gentleman that used to work for a company that supplied them with XM interfaces. And for Toyota, they made the XM interface. So 80 or 20% of the cars didn't come with Sirius XM. So South Florida or whatever, the company that buys all the Toyotas and sells them throughout the country would just buy their product, load them into the cars, and that would be your Sirius XM would be in from the factory. And they could make a lot more money doing it that way than buying the car preloaded. So that's where a lot of this growth and the safety feature comes from. However, looking at like amplifier sales and stuff like that, all those are on track to be higher than normal from what they expected from 2023. Not to be confused with the huge growth we got all through COVID. But there again, COVID, we had this crazy amount of business and then it fell. Mm-hmm. And it fell a little bit more as we all found out, like, oh crap, we all got to go back to the office now. Oh man, I need my drugs. They start spending money on things like I don't know, concerts and movies, and so and so now it's actually going to start leveling back off, and so their forecast was a little pessimistic, and they're like, oh yeah, this is great. So good news, which is kind of what we're seeing. Traffic there for a while was like, and now it's definitely, I'm not going to say on the uptick, but it is starting to level off at a little higher than expected, which is good. I mean, it's not like we're losing, it's like, oh crap, there's plenty of people coming in, plenty of people still want to do this stuff. So that is fantastic news, because we always like to hear that. Now, this is the one we're going to kind of unpack a little bit, because we've talked about this ourselves, which is this the year of DSP? And I'm quoted in this article, which I was unaware of, because I was Outlook. Of course, she will ask us questions every now and then to help clarify some of the stuff she hears from other people, just because we have a very unique take on things. And so her and I had an in-length conversation about this specific article, and she quoted me in it. I didn't know that. I didn't know it, but it was all true. But so we were talking not too long ago about how much more training do we feel we need to do? At some point, it's either you get it or you don't, right? Yeah. And there again, we were also talking about like the classes that we taught. So like we teach social media classes on all these events that we go to, and we were kind of going through our head and trying to figure out like how many actual classes we've taught on this topic, and it's kind of staggering. And last year Brian taught as many classes, and actually more classes in DSP than we did in clean wiring, just because he had a classroom version and a show floor version. But in some cases, he was doing 4 classes an event. Mm-hmm. So hell, he may have taught 20 classes last year on DSP, and there was hundreds and hundreds of people that went through these classes. And there's Justin. Yeah, that's funny. I just noticed Justin. That. So this is in Canada. I know that guy. I know most of these guys. I know that guy. Anyways, the question is, either you get it or you don't, right? And that's the true thing in life. It's either you're on board for something or you're not. Yeah. How much to say, is this the year of the DSP? Is this the year that people actually understand that they get it? And right off in the article, it says some people feel it's important and other dealers feel it's a waste of time. And then they say some people are willing to pay for it and other people's aren't. Anytime something is not, if somebody is not willing to pay for something, that means as the seller or the manufacturer, I've done a bad job of explaining how important this thing is. So like if you need heart surgery, as a doctor, I have to really impress upon you how important it is for me to go in and fix this problem you have, right? And you could be like, well, how much time do I have? Is it really necessary? I mean, I feel fine. Should I just keep, so you know what? Let's put it on the shelf and we'll come back in 3 months. You might not have 3 months. There again, not like an accurate, but I'm just saying. So do you feel like this is the year of the DSP?
So it's just like, for how many years we've been doing DSPs, right? And I think as soon as we find out about DSP, when you went to California, take that training.
Yeah, the Audison training.
The Audison training, right? And doing so many hours, you came back and it's like, this is what we need to do. This is how the industry is moving forward. And from there, you decide you want to adapt, or you just want to leave that behind and you just want to do a deck and 4. Right. Like I don't care.
Or whatever the modern equivalent.
I just want to turn the dials, and can you tune my amplifier? and it's like it's no tune on the amplifier.
Right.
You know, it's just set your gains.
Right.
That's the confusing part of it. And like you say in the article, right? Like every single car should get a DSP. Why? Because we are here to make sound better, right? That's what the customers come into our.
So this actually already exists. Like if you buy the Moscone DSP,
Yeah,
and you buy Gladen speakers, who they manufacture, there's presets. You just click the presets.
Yeah.
So a lot of what you're at, like in like the DSR1 in the Rockford Jeep system, there is no tuning of the DSR1. They've tuned it all for you.
Yeah.
At that point, we're not talking about DSP. We're talking about black box. Then you become a mechanic. So the mechanic doesn't really understand why your car is broken. They just
put in the box.
They plug in the OBD2 scanner. It tells you this number. That number correlates to a communication error with this particular box in the car. And so then they walk over there and they unplug the box. They plug a new box in and they see if the trouble goes away. If the trouble goes away, they just magically fixed your car. So understanding how something works is not the same as having a magic button. A lot of people want magic buttons. They just, that's why now we have, which we talked about last night at Hi-Fi shows. That's why we have Barney's, and that's why we have this, and that's why we have Tune Max and all the microphones you plug in and key technology and all this stuff where it's just like, you're too stupid to figure out how to use this, so we're going to automate it for you.
And that's that. Like, for example, the article is great, right? But somebody put in the comments, the Alpine Optime is it's a dealer's confidence,
right,
to do or to sell a DSP. But are you understanding the DSP?
I was gonna say, in my world, not being able. If this is confidence, all I have to do is this, and it works.
Right.
That
That's
doesn't.
Not,
no, because
that's not helping you.
No, because I don't understand what I just did.
Correct.
And then when it's wrong, I don't know how to fix it.
But you don't know if it's wrong because you never.
Yeah, because you don't know what you're doing.
Correct.
But it's like
and the other comment is like, this article was written in 2008. Some of these people, we are in 2024, and they still don't know how to set up a basic DSP.
No, and
right?
that was like the first or the second sentence in there was like, some people feel DSP is important, and other people say it's not.
So when you ask me, this is the year, I think this is the year that we most push a DSP. And every class that we went to, it's just like you say, Brian doing so many DSP.
Brian, Ken,
Andy.
I mean, those are like the big three.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we do DSP, tips on the YouTube channel.
Yes.
And
we'll be doing one tomorrow.
Yes. Exactly.
So
you have to have a DSP.
You do, and the other thing is listen. Not everything has to be easy in life, right?
I mean, nothing is easy in life.
Everything is easy in life. Now, like we were talking about before the show, where it's like, I need a picture of something. I just open AI and say, I want a picture of a panda playing football. And it's like, boom, panda playing football. Oh, cool. Print a t-shirt. Yeah. I want my car to sound good. There you go. Your car sounds good. So we'll see how that all plays out. Is it the year of the DSP? I mean, I feel like, you need a title for it, really, is what it comes down to. You need something to put up there to get people to read it. I don't know if it's clickbait or not, but what I would say is, at this stage in the game right now, you have so much DSP available to you from various manufacturers, from the online side of things, the smaller guys that just,
one band EQ,
one band EQ, to, like JP has his DSP that's going to be coming out at some point. And then you have all the way up. If you follow that crazy train all the way up, you have the Moscone stuff over here. We talk about the Blackbird all the time. Audison, who is featured in that. Audison probably has, it'd be a tough call. I'd have to look at the numbers, whether Audison, Museway, or Helix, which one of them has the most DSP amplifiers. Because that's all they're making now. Like Audison is basically said, DSP in a box with an amplifier is the way we like them. So that's what we're going to make. The standalone DSP, which we don't sell standalone DSP because I'm a big fan of the TV VCR combo. And everyone goes, what's a VCR? All right, TV DVD combo. What's a DVD? Okay, let it go. So it'll just be interesting to see where this goes. But right now, I feel like if you're a manufacturer and you're not making a DSP or you're not planning on making a DSP, I don't know where you're going to be. I do know where you're going to be in the future. And the excuse that we always get is the same when we say to somebody, hey, you really need to make a DSP. The first thing that they say is, we don't have the customer support to back it up.
Yeah.
That is the number one reason why, if you're a manufacturer and don't have a DSP right now, and as a consumer, you're like, why don't these guys make a DSP? It's because of that. The customer support in order to sell that product is big.
Yeah. And
it's time consuming, and you need people that know what they're talking about. And that doesn't exist in a lot of these smaller companies. So you either have to make a really basic scaled down version of a DSP that you hope everyone will be able to figure out, and or you have to have enough people that can answer the phones to deal with it. But that is the number one reason on the manufacturing side, other than it's hard.
Yeah.
Because that's always a fun one. But I think the issue with DSPs are they're not needed in every single case. If I have an aftermarket head unit and a simple coax in the front and rear with sub, how much better will the DSP make it? And Don, I understand what you're saying, but you bought a radio that has a DSP built into it. Okay. If you look at the standard radio right now, it has time alignment, it has equalization. Some of them have parametric EQs. It's got 50% of what you're buying in a DSP built into that radio that you can use. We've showed you guys in videos how much effort we put into tuning that radio that you bought, because we have these tools available to us. So DSP is needed in everything. At what level?
And I don't think it's the issue with the DSP. I think it's just the issue of what are you trying to achieve, Well,
it's scary. So, and again, exactly what you're trying to achieve, because even if you bought a 9 series Kenwood or a 10 series Kenwood, it's got a ton of features built in. And even the 9000 series Sony, there's a ton of features in it to make your basic system sound good.
Yeah.
But as soon as, if like the gentleman the other day, he had the 10 series Kenwood in his dash, and we put a DSP in because he had K2s and we went full active. You'll never do that with an aftermarket radio successfully.
I remember we did Rockford DSR1 with loudspeakers, and I was like, no, well, we want to do loudspeakers, we never do loudspeakers, blah blah blah. Then you tune it with the DSP, and the system ended out pretty good.
It was more than pretty good.
No, I'm just saying that was great. Why? Yes, you need a DSP. I mean, hey man, you gotta give the chance to make it sound better. So
I can tell you, if you're waiting on a head unit manufacturer to do anything, it ain't gonna happen. I can tell you right now, the dead end road is on head unit manufacturing.
Yeah.
Those guys, the Japanese, with the exception of Alpine trying, to do something, we just haven't figured out what. It's not coming. These guys don't get it.
Yeah.
And they're never going to. So. And that's a whole nother conversation of age. Older people at the top making decisions for younger people that they know nothing about.
It's really 80 PRS. Look at that. That was an old.
And there again, we won't even go down the 80 PRS.
How old is that one?
Let it go, man.
And
let it go.
Had a full DSP stuff. So.
It had a partial DSP. I don't call front and rear EQ a full DSP.
No, but
it had for its time. It was excelling well beyond everything else. So, okay, my F-150 with FLAC in the bus signal to DSP. And won't distort until 3/4 on a very clean signal. Either way.
So, yeah.
Dean would work at a home call center when you retire. DSP, how can I help you? Either way. Is this the year of the DSP? I don't know, but I do know I'm very thankful for you guys hanging out with us this morning and watching the news. We hope you guys enjoy the news. Next week, there will be no news because we'll be over in Arizona at Mobile Solutions with Moscone, Focal, and Glading doing the training there with a whole bunch of guys. Haley's going to be along with us. So it ought to be fun. It will be fun. We know it's going to be fun. This will be the 4th one of these we've been doing. We're going to bring you coverage. If you don't follow Focal America or Gladen on the Instagrams or Facebook, make sure you do. That'll be a great place to see what we're up to and what's going on next week in the universe that we swirl around in. For the rest of you guys, you have a wonderful day. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, 5-Star Car Stereo, the number 5-Star Car Stereo, if you want to know what's happening in the install bay, because we will definitely be going today and tomorrow and answering questions, of course, as we always do. There'll be a show Saturday, tomorrow, so make sure to tune in that. And this guy will be back on, so I know he's been off for the last 2 ones. We had some great guests filling in, Fro and Brian, so that's very wonderful. Nice. But we'll have my partner in crime back for Saturday and Monday. And then we'll just see where the week goes from there. But you guys have a great Friday. Hopefully you're getting stuff done.
So guys, later, 5 minutes with 5-Star, guys.
Have a great weekend. See ya.